Well, hello, Denton. This is Jake Laughlin bringing you another episode of Discover Denton, a show brought to you by the Convention and Visitors Bureau, highlighting events around Denton. This week we have Kim Phillips of the CVB talking again about her Denton Essence series, and she's wrapping it up with one very cool feature that we love to talk about a couple of times on this show. And so make sure you check this out if you've not heard about it before. We're talking about the North Texas horse country. So without any more ado, here is Discover Denton.
Hello, Denton. Welcome to Discover Denton Radio. I'm Kim Phillips coming to you from the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thanks for joining us today. This past week on Sunday, my column in the Denton Record Chronicle focused on the last in a series of 3 stories that talked about the essence of Denton. This became kind of a community discussion through the column and through our blog here at the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. And by the way, if you've never checked out our blog, do so. It's at www.discoverdenton.com. And one of the choices along the top toolbar is blogs. Just check there and you can find out all kinds of information from different bloggers that we have that are that participate regularly in those blogs. We've got one that focuses just on kids stuff. So I encourage you to look there, but if you've not been following our stories, we've had quite a community discussion about what is the essence of Denton. And we've talked about all kinds of things from the music scene to the arts community and the whole creative energy that's here thanks to the universities and the influence that brings into our community, the diversity, the cultural diversity that comes here. All of those things we've talked about. We talked about what essence really is per Webster's dictionary, and the fact that what we honed in on is that essence is the quality or qualities that make a thing what it is. So thinking that we were kind of wrapping up this whole discussion, all of a sudden we got some feedback from one of our readers who is Judy Watkins. And Judy came through on our blog and said, hey, one thing you've forgotten, and that may be just as important as anything else, part of the essence of Denton has to do with the horse country. Now, if you're not familiar with the horse country, I want to tell you a little bit about it because it's become a huge draw for Denton. And really it has been since the 1970s, early 1970s. But it's much more so now because it's not just the equine industry, but there's a whole tourism industry that we've built around it. And it means big business for Denton. Judy is, by the way, our step-on guide. She works here at the Convention and Visitors Bureau. She works with tour groups when they come into the city. All kinds of tour groups, but her specialty is the horse country. She's an avid, passionate student of horses, doesn't own any horses, but loves them and has become our #1 primary step-on guide for that reason. She really, really shares that passion, and it's contagious, and people love her on the tours. We've got several tours coming up, so I thought it would be a good time to just, those of you who aren't aware and those of you that are, just to remind you why the whole horse thing is so important to Denton. Well, first of all, agriculture is the basis for our whole economy. Not just in Denton, but all of Texas and even the whole United States. I mean, before the Industrial Revolution, agriculture is what made life happen in this country. And it's just the case that here in Denton, we're fortunate enough that the agricultural side of things is still very important to our economy. In fact, the agricultural impact on Denton County's economy is more than $100 million a year. And that is coming 100% from the equine industry. Where is all that money? I mean, what's happening? Well, the answer is really very diverse. And it's diverse because Denton County has something unlike any other place on planet Earth. We have horse shows, sales, breeding, training, competition, racing, reining, cutting, paint horses, warm bloods, thoroughbreds. It's all over the board. And plus, in addition to that, we don't just have a whole bunch of horses here, but these are world-renowned. We've got some of the most famous breeders, ranches, and stallions in the world that are right here in Denton County. Valor Farm, for example, it's one of our premier ranches. Most tours that we do go by there at the very least. Most of them will go in and do a drive-through. But Valor Farm, it's a thoroughbred breeding farm, and it's the only horse farm west of the Mississippi River to ever win 2 Kentucky Derby trophies. That's a big deal. Tom McCutcheon is another ranch here out in horse country, which mostly is concentrated in the northern part of our county, but it is all over our county. But Tom McCutcheon, that's a reining ranch. Train horses and riders in the discipline of reining. Tom is the National Reining Horse Association's $1 million rider. That means he's got more than $1 million in earnings for his lifetime. He was the 2010 U.S. Equestrian of the Year, and he's won 2 gold medals in the World Equestrian Games. That's not small stuff. So while $100 million in economic impact on our county is strictly horse industry, there are all these support businesses that are also very critical to supporting that equine industry for it to be successful. We see them all the time. We just don't really think about them. Anytime you're driving around, you're seeing this stuff. I mean, it is these industries, these businesses are kind of the dots that connect, that make this whole swath of land, which, by the way, is called sandy loam soil. And sandy loam, right here in the middle of this prairie, is what makes this place so special. It's very special, doesn't stick to the horse's hooves, and people flock here to be here in this soil, in this temperate climate, and where so much support is available. And the support looks like this. It's veterinarians, it's hay, it's trailers, it's barn building, it's building supplies and equipment, it's tack, feed, fencing, farrier services, which is blacksmith services, breeding technology, education, and the list goes on and on. Together, all of that stuff comprises the industry that we're talking about. No other place on planet Earth has the diversity, and the quality that we have here. Everybody knows about the Kentucky Derby in Louisville, Kentucky, and most people think, hey, that's where it's all at. Well, hey, they do have a very impressive equine industry there, but what sets us apart is 25,000 plus horses, over 350 premier horse farms. Some stallions that are standing on these horse farms are worth well over $1 million. It is huge, huge business. And now we've got tours coming from all over the world to see the horse country. And it's kind of a fringe economy to the equine industry, but it is not small business. These people come here, they're on tour buses, they eat, they shop, they stay in our hotels. It's big business to us. We've got 6 tours coming up in 2014 that are ticketed especially for our local people to be able to really appreciate what it is that you're living in right here in the middle of. The next one coming up is the first Saturday in March, and you can find out all the details for how to get your tickets and cost and the length of the tour and everything else. Judy Watkins will be leading the tour. Go to horsecountrytours.com. Check it out there, and you can go ahead and get registered for the tour or any of the 2014 tours. All the information is there at horsecountrytours.com. It's big business, folks, and it's tons of fun, beautiful, and it really sets us independent. And that's Denton. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
There you have it. That was this week's episode of Discover Denton. A big thanks to Kim Phillips of the CVB. Another big thanks to Gravity Feed for providing the intro and outro music. I'm Jake Laughlin, your host. Join us next week. We will be bringing you more highlights of our original and independent city. And in the meantime, go enjoy Denton.